I'm Dr. Bernard Jensen. This is the joy of living.
The joy of living. The joy of living. The joy of living. What does it matter where yesterday's been? Now is the time that life can really begin. Sunshine is all around, we're living again. The joy of living. The joy of living.
In our next session now, I want to bring in a little about circulation. After all, I've had a lot of experience with dead people. They don't move. We find out now we've got to get into the motion of life. And when I talk about a vigor and a vim and an energy, you have to have that expressed within yourself, and you have to have that power inside to get it all out. Now, I wanted to bring out something that's meant an awful lot to me, and I told you about visiting the Hunza people. I also visited a lot of the old people. For instance, over in Turkey, I think I saw over 75 people in Turkey over 100 years of age. And the nicest thing that I can tell you when I visited all these people is that I was always finding that the oldest were the old men. Why the old men? Huh? And I couldn't understand, because here I wanted to find out why I couldn't see any of the old women. Not that I was looking for old women, but I just didn't see any old women over there. They're all of the old men. And you know, in our work, one of the things that we work with more than anything else is what we call a senility sign. The senility sign is a sign of old age. And we have been working on that for some years, because I don't think that the elderly people in this country, I don't say they're getting a good deal. I mean, we're looking forward to rest homes. The last part of our life, we're under drugs. We're not cared for the way we should. But you find all the elderly people that I visited, they're all working outside. Well, why shouldn't we? And you know, it's just now, I've been writing some books, and I think they're the best books that I'm writing, that I've ever written, right now. I think that when we get to a certain age, that's the time we have wisdom. Most people, what are they doing? They're retiring at the age of 50. As long as you can get on Social Security at the age of 60. You know, like Marie told me the other day, she says, "Oh, Bob," she says, "you're working so hard all the time." She says, "I'm working hard on these things." I says, "Darling, just be glad you can work. Just be glad you can work." I had a man come in there, couldn't move his arms, couldn't put his coat on, with arthritis to begin with. Here he is getting a Social Security and a disability check for the last 10 years. And you know, this man, why, after about 2 months at the ranch, he was able to move fairly well, getting around nicely. And I said, "Well, Jerry," I said, "you know," I said, "things are going pretty nice here. In another month or so," I said, "you'll be really moving along." He says, "You know, Doc," he says, "I'm going home. I'm going home today." I said, "What are you going home for?" I said, "You just got the most beautiful start. Imagine what you can do in another month." He says, "That's what bothers me. If I got any better, I'm going to have to go back to work." I mean, can you imagine a person that is afraid to go back to work? Just be glad you can work, friends. Oh, I tell you, when you take working ability away from a person, you take his life away. You take his life away. So I just say, be glad you can work. In looking at those particular signs now, we have been developing a couple of cameras. And in these cameras, we had this here developed through the Expanded Optics Company. And they have really been providing a lot of information, putting it on film, on slides, so that we're able to see when a condition exists, how it gets worse. This arcus senilis sign that we find in the iris of the eye is found in the upper part of the eye, and it shows an anemic condition, And we find that people are not getting the blood to the upper extremities in their body. And this is a very important thing, because that's what brings on old age. When you can't get enough blood to the head areas, you find out that you cannot